right, welcome to the World Tour edition of the podcast. Today we venture to Kyoto in Japan, and Claire joins me, the lovely Claire. Hello, Dali.
Hello.
Hello, Dali.
Hello, Dali.
Hey, awesome reflecting on our Tokyo trip together. Thank you so much for doing these. I love you so much.
I love you too.
That's good. So we wrap up in Tokyo, and to get between a lot of the main cities in Japan, you take the Shinkansen, which are the bullet trains. And so you book them in advance, and we booked from Tokyo to Kyoto. Mm-hmm. Originally, we weren't even going to stay in Kyoto. Do you remember?
Yeah, I think you were kind of like, oh, we'd just do it as a day trip, and then
From Osaka.
And then I think I just kept finding more and more stuff when I was like researching what to do that I wanted to do in Japan. So we ended up staying there for 3 nights.
Well, did we stay 3 nights in Kyoto? Yeah, we would have. Yeah. And like, again, I've been to Kyoto. Like, I've been to all these places before, but it's first time for you.
Yeah.
So I guess comparatively to Tokyo, like, what's your impression of Kyoto?
It felt just a lot more, what's the
Low-key?
word? Yeah, just like not anywhere near as chaotic, just a little bit calmer, a bit more chill.
Yeah. And
Bit
also
more
like, oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, just like a bit more serene.
Compared to Tokyo, which is so busy. And I think didn't we look up, was there 13 million people, the population of Tokyo?
Oh, a lot. I can't remember exactly what it was.
No,
it was a lot.
I think it was 13 million.
Because it was like
we were
half the population of Australia or something.
It was half the population of Australia in
Tokyo.
one city. And also like go and look at Japan, the country, on a map. It's quite small. Like I reckon the whole of Japan would be like smaller than Victoria and New South Wales together. Don't you reckon? Like in terms of like length.
I mean, it's very long.
Yeah, true. Anyway,
I don't know.
We don't have to. It's not a geography podcast. So we were on the Shinkansen from Tokyo to Kyoto is about 2 hours-ish, 2.5 hours. And what was the main cool thing that we found on the Shinkansen on the way to Kyoto? What was the main thing we saw?
Mount Fuji out the window. It was like incredible. A good like 15 minutes, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes of just like perfect view of Mount Fuji out the window. It was awesome.
Yeah. And we pretty much like, because it's really hit and miss with Mount Fuji. Yeah. You can get cloudy, misty, foggy days where you just can't see it. We just had a perfect view.
It was awesome.
In all its glory. Fujiyama, Fuji-san.
Yeah.
Should I tell the story of why they call it Fuji-san? That's an interesting little tidbit.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so obviously in Japanese, like if you were greeting someone, you might be like, konnichiwa, Claire-san, which is like, san is like a honorific kind of thing, right? But you'd also say Fuji-san to refer to Mount Fuji, but it's not the same kind of san, right? It's because in Japan, yama or yami, now I'm butchering it, means mountain. So they'd say Fujiyama, right? So you wouldn't say Mount Fujiyama. That's like saying Mount Fuji mountain or Mount Fuji mountain. You know what I mean? You know what I mean, right? So you'd just say, they'd say Fujiyama. But the character, the Japanese like character for mountain can be read either as Yama or sun. So some of them say Fuji-san. It's an interesting story.
Very interesting.
So we saw Fuji-san.
We did.
Yeah.
And we got
Ekiben?
yeah.
Is that what you were going to say?
Bento, yeah.
Yeah, because Whitey, who's a listener of the show and a Patreon member of this show, recommended, get some Ekiben, which are train bento boxes, lunch designed to be had on a Shinkansen. Wasn't great.
I know, it was fun. Like I thought it was just like the experience of it was fun, but I also like, I don't know, it doesn't feel right to me to have cold chicken and cold rice,
Yes.
which is what it contained.
That's what ours was.
The I don't know, food safety guidelines of Australia wouldn't be happy with
Wouldn't
that.
be happy with that. I would just rather, and I think we did this every other time, get like sandwiches, chicken. I would get the onigiri, which are like the rice balls with like tuna or salmon or like shrimp inside, which were really nice. You'd get a few sandwiches, and there's not
Egg
just
sando.
there's not just egg sandos though. Remember we had like the
Pork cutlet.
pork cutlet, chicken not tempura. Was it
Katsu.
katsu chicken sandwich?
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
Like the food was just so good and so cheap. And we arrived in Kyoto, went to the hotel, and I actually think that first day, like we probably arrived at like noon, but we were really tired, so we just chilled. But we had a night tour booked.
Yes, we did. In what was that area called? I can't even remember.
Gion.
Gion, yeah.
The Gion area. So you kind of put me on to these because we did a lot of them in Europe and you've always done them, is like the free walking tours that you can do when you're traveling, which I reckon are such good value.
Yeah.
Considering they're free.
I mean, you tip, but yes. Yeah, we did a walking tour in the Gion area, which is kind of where all the geisha in Tokyo live and work.
And the reason these walking tours are so good, I think, is because one, they're usually run by a local. Like we did them in Portugal, we did them in Barcelona. No, we did it in Valencia. Yep. I don't think we did one in Paris, actually. No, I did one in London, a Harry Potter one. But they're usually run by a local who like knows a lot about the history of the city and stuff.
Yeah.
And we had our fantastic tour guide whose name was Taka.
Haka.
Kana. It was Kana.
Kana.
So basically, this became a running gag of the trip, which if you travel with your partner, you know, get some running gags going. So her name was Kana. She was lovely. She was a lovely, like, sprightly, like, tour guide. She was great. But we just forgot her name. So then I was like, oh, Taka was such a good tour guide. And Claire was like, her name wasn't Taka, it was Haka. I'm like, I don't think it was Haka. I think it was Kana.
I was fine with her name until I
started clouding it with Taka.
Taka, Haka, Kana.
Because I think it was Kana though.
Yeah, because I remember at the start she was like, oh, some people call me Hannah, but it's Kana.
Yes, and then
but call me whatever you want.
Yeah, well, that's what she did say. You can call me whatever you want, and I think that's where I just started calling her Taka, which really confused me. And then her name just became Taka.
Yes.
Yeah.
But she was great.
She was great. So do you want to tell them about you were talking about Gion being the geisha area. What kind of things did we see and learn on that?
So we did see a geisha. They're very rare nowadays. I think she said there's only like 150 geisha in Japan in the whole of Japan.
But tell them about what she taught us about like the history of the geisha and stuff. Like and what they do and how they become geisha and everything.
Yeah, so they have to go to like a whole separate school. So once they're like 15, like in middle school or whatever, is when they have to decide like, I want to be a geisha. I want to be a geisha. They have to go to a whole separate school and like learn how to be a geisha.
And the geishas are just like, they're like entertainers, but it's not like sex work. No. But they're just like
they sing and dance and play instruments and serve food and drinks and it was really cool kind of to learn about, I don't know, what's involved with that, I guess. And I know it was kind of sad. Like she was saying, if you decide to be a geisha, you essentially have to go to this separate school. You see your family for like 2 weeks a year and otherwise very minimal contact. Like sounds really brutal.
You share a room with like 7 other girls, all of whom want to be geisha. And like it's an intensive, like, is it a 5-year program before you even become a geisha or something?
Something like that.
Then we started being like, oh, you know what we should do? Watch the movie Memoirs of a Geisha. We didn't end up doing that.
Well, we should do that.
We should do that. Maybe on the weekend.
I'd love to watch it.
But yeah, Taka or Kana was just like showing us around. And that was a really beautiful area.
Yeah.
Like
I loved that area.
I don't even know how to explain it. It was all like laneway, like not laneways, but like small streets with like, you know, small buildings, not like a skyscraper city area. Right?
And like trees and it was pretty.
Shrubs.
Yeah.
And I guess we should talk about, there's 2 other, like it was just a beautiful area and I didn't see the geisha. But you guys saw a geisha.
Oh, yeah, you were too busy chit-chatting to your new friend.
Yeah, so I made a friend during the trip because a few things happened. While we were waiting for the walking tour to start, there was like a few people busking in the city area of Kyoto where we started, one of whom was like a Japanese guy playing a didgeridoo, which we thought was culturally insensitive because like you wouldn't do that, but I guess they don't know that in Japan. And because of like, there was it was just so busy in the Kyoto city, remember? Like,
Yeah, that area where we met.
it was insanely busy. And because it was so noisy and busy, one of the other guys on the tour like said to me, "Oh, it's so bloody noisy here," or something along the lines of that. And then he introduced himself. Lovely, lovely guy. Lovely guy from, let's say, America. Lovely guy.
Wasn't he from Canada?
Yeah, but I was trying to like hide his identity a bit.
I think there's a lot of people that live in Canada.
Yeah, that's true. He was a lovely guy, but there was like, he was actually genuinely a great
Yeah, he
guy.
was great.
Tell them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
But then there was one incident towards the end of the tour where we were kind of already falling behind, like they were walking to the next place and we were just sort of chatting away about life. And then this guy's like, "Oh, sorry guys, I got to tie my shoelace. My shoelace is undone." Now you tell them what happened next.
So we're like, "Oh yeah, that's fine." So we couldn't like keep walking, so we
Stopped to wait for him.
He was
Thinking the average shoelace tying time is like
10
15
seconds.
seconds max. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so we were like, "Oh yeah, that's cool." Anyway, so it was like 15 seconds went by, 30 seconds went by, probably like
45
a
seconds.
minute in. We both at the same time were like, "Did you want us to put a light on?" Like,
Yeah, because it was
what's
dark.
going
It was
on?
like 8 o'clock. But both of us were getting a lot of anxiety silently because the group was getting further and further away, and it was just taking an unbelievable amount of time to tie these shoelaces.
And then he was like, "Oh yeah, that'd be great. Some light would be good because you see, my eyesight's not very good, and oh, my wife, she'd be so angry if she knew I didn't have my glasses on." And
And we just wanted to be like, stop explaining it and just tie your
shoes.
shoelaces.
Literally, I reckon it took him 2.5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then we were so behind, like we couldn't see the group anymore.
And then we walked forward and it was like a fork in the road. So we had to choose which way we thought they might have gone. Thankfully, we caught up to the group.
He was so like just unapologetic
He
about
was so
the incident too.
nonchalant. It's like, "Hey man, we've literally been waiting for you to tie your shoelace for 2 minutes." Like, and it would just have been so rude if we just walked off. Like it was just not on the cards.
Oh man. Anyway, we found the group, so it was fine.
It was fine. And then that's when you saw the geisha, I think. And I was still chatting to
Yeah,
him.
you were still chit chatting, and I walked ahead.
Yeah. And then do you want to tell the other thing that happened
Yeah, so-
about
The what are they called again? The gates.
the little torii gates,
Torii
which are like
gates.
the Japanese shrine kind of gates? You'd probably know them.
Kana was explaining how there's like gates on some of the walls and stuff. She
Yeah.
was like, the reason these are here.
So
is
no, but not the gate. Like little images of the gates are painted on to the side of buildings.
Yeah. So she was kind of explaining, the reason these are here is because of this area. Like a lot of people, after they've been out at parties with the geishas, they're pretty drunk. They'd come out of the buildings and they'd start weeing on the walls and stuff. And so then they decided to start putting these torii gates on walls where people pee, as kind of like you wouldn't
As a
pee on a
deterrent.
torii gate. Like
Yeah,
you
it's
can't
like
do that.
if you if you were Catholic and there was a cross on the side of a building, you might be deterred from weeing on it.
Yeah.
Because you didn't want to wee on like a religious icon.
Yeah. At least that's how I interpreted it.
Yeah.
Mike and his Canadian friend were
I didn't-
chit-chatting.
I didn't hear.
And so Mike was then like, "Wait, what was that?" And Canadian friend goes, "Oh, she's just saying that like it's like a hall pass, like it just means pee where you want."
Yeah. And then I was like,
And Mike was like, "Oh, cool."
I remember being like, that doesn't sound right, but you seem like a smart guy, even though you can't tie your shoelaces. So I will believe it.
And then it wasn't until like after the tour I was like, "By the way, I don't think that that's what she said."
Yeah.
Like that wasn't my interpretation of it at all.
And the thing that I said is like, this guy was like the nicest guy ever. We actually loved every interaction with him. Very friendly guy. But for the rest of our lives, we'll only remember him as the guy who couldn't tie his shoelaces.
And thought that it was fine to
like to
pee.
pee wherever you want. But that was so... honestly, wherever you are, like try and find a night, any walking tour. But the night one was actually quite good.
Yeah,
It was like,
I enjoyed that.
yeah,
Something to do
just
in the evenings.
yeah. And then we didn't get dinner.
We did. We went to
that
like that
random
barbecue
place,
sort
yeah.
of place. That was cool.
Yeah.
And then our tour guide said, if you guys like mochi, here's a
Which
great
we
mochi
do.
place.
Yeah.
So we're like, we love mochi.
Like they do cherry blossom mochi. It's my favorite.
Yeah. She was like, you have to try it. It's really, really good. So
Yeah.
we're like, well, we can't not.
Yeah.
So we went to this, we got dinner and then afterwards we went to this mochi place
That she recommended.
to
us, yeah.
It was pretty expensive, but it was like
Really
beautifully
fancy.
like packaged. Like
Yeah.
they packaged them up for us really nicely, and we're like,
Yeah.
oh, how exciting! And then we headed home.
And we got lost on the train. I made us get off the train a stop early. So then we had to walk for 20 minutes, remember?
Yeah,
And then you even said when we were walking, it's like, should we have one of the cherry blossom mochis to energize us to get home? And I was like, nah, let's just have it back at the hotel. So we did, and
pretty inedible.
had one bite, and it was like, this is definitely in the ballpark of the most disgusting thing I've ever eaten.
But then, so do you remember how we got the cherry blossom ones, and then we got,
walnut or
or I think it was chestnut.
chestnut one?
We
Yeah.
got a chestnut one each as well.
Now, the only reason I got those because I thought they looked like chocolate. And I was
Yeah.
like, if the cherry blossom one's not good, at least we'll just have a chocolate one. Wasn't chocolate.
I knew it wasn't chocolate because
Yeah.
you said it was chestnut.
Yeah, but it was brown.
Yeah.
I, in my mind, associated it with chocolate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yes. Anyways, so had a bite of the cherry blossom one. We were both a bit like, nah, I'll leave the rest of that. We'll throw the rest of that into the bin.
Yeah.
But great to try it. That's okay. We'll try this other one. That was like actually inedible. Like
was
we
like
both
dirt.
We both spat it out.
Don't you reckon it was like
Just very-
dirt?
yeah, it was. I felt very childish spitting it out, but it
Nah,
was
it was
actually
worth it.
like difficult
Yeah.
to
And we spent $10 on them or more.
more. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We wasted all of it. And then we were like, now we have to go get something else sweet to have because
Well, no, I think we had some Kit Kats
yeah.
that we'd bought. So
That's
I think we
right.
just had those instead. Did we?
Yeah. So next day we did the Fushimi Inari Shrine,
Yes.
which is one of the most well-known like Japanese tourist sites, which is like the big red gates, red arched torii gates that go up the mountain and you walk up the shrine. And actually the first thing we did there was the chopsticks. So there was like this place that you found on Insta that you buy like good quality chopsticks and they engrave your name on it for free. So we wanted to do that. So we did that and you leave them there and then you go climb the mountain, you come back and they've engraved them. That was cool. And
With
then
like in like English letters and then in
Japanese. Yeah. And then we did the climb up Mount Inari through the gate. How did you feel about that? It was
Yeah,
my third time doing it.
Yeah, it was very busy, especially
Yeah.
down the bottom. Like it was, I don't know, that was kind of unpleasant. But then the further you got up, it was much more quiet.
I guess a few people start dipping out
yeah.
the higher you get. Yeah.
No, it was awesome. I was like wrecked.
Yeah. But
I'm
it's
so
quite
unfit.
I feel like we were both wrecked, to be fair,
Yeah.
and very sweaty. But like, I really like that. I've always really enjoyed doing that. I just think it's like, I don't know, it's quite an interesting and nice sort of walk to do.
Yeah.
And you get to the summit. It might, I reckon,
An hour?
hour and a half maybe. You get to the summit and there's no view.
Yeah.
You're just like there.
That's what kind of halfway up there was a really nice view.
Yeah.
And I remember in my head being like, oh,
this
it's going to
must-
be really nice from the top.
It's
You
not.
couldn't see anything. You're just surrounded by trees and stuff. Like you
Yeah.
can't actually see anything.
And the other thing about it is like you're walking up this mountain and sort of every like stop, there's like little stop areas. There's like little stalls and shops and people working in the shops selling like bottled water and souvenirs and stuff. And every time I've done it, I've always just been like, do these people have to walk up the mountain every day to come to work? Because there's no elevator up the mountain. There's no like secret, like quick way up. They're not helicoptering up, but it's like quite a difficult walk. I can't imagine doing it every day.
I wonder if there's a road up like the back of it that you can drive up.
Maybe but like no, like you would see something like that surely.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Surely more people would just drive up to the top. Yeah, I don't know.
So we were very sweaty and worn out, but we decided to then go to the Golden Pavilion, which is like, describe that.
Like a palace covered in gold leaf.
Yeah. And
it was really beautiful.
You know one thing about Japan that I thought was good? Well, a lot. But like one thing is all of the tourist sites, even if you have to pay to enter, you only have to pay like $3. Whereas like if we had something like that in Melbourne, you'd have to pay like $40, I reckon, to enter. But it was like, 300 yen, Golden Pavilion. And the Golden Pavilion, it's really beautiful. It's by a lake, but also because you only spend like $3, you don't feel the need to like linger for long.
Yeah.
So we just like look at it, cool, take a few photos, cool, done. Let's head back.
Yeah.
The Golden Pavilion actually, there's a story in Pokemon Gold version that like is based around it. Did I tell you that?
I don't remember.
Ah, okay.
You might have.
Don't worry.
That sounds great though. Tell me another time.
What did we do next?
We went to get some dinner. And
that was a good dinner.
It was a really good dinner. We went to, I can't remember the name of it, but it was like a, what's it called? Tonkatsu pork place.
Fried crumbed pork. And
it was like a really, you could like choose the quality of pork that you wanted.
True. We got the best, didn't we?
We did. We decided we'd splurge a little bit.
Yeah.
Because all the other food we'd kind of eaten was pretty cheap. So we were like, you know what? Let's go for it. And you got rice and miso.
I'm looking at a photo of it right now and it was good and it had this like really nice sauce that you dip the pork into. It was just like melt in your mouth, delicious. And the rice was good. The miso soup. You didn't like the miso soup. I love miso soup.
No, I wasn't a fan of it. A bit too fishy for me.
Yeah. And then next day we woke up. We went to this pancake place called Pancake, was it? Panel pancakes. Waited
Panel
in
Cafe.
line for like maybe
an hour
for these. Which, you know, we just decided, we'll do it. Worth it. How worth it was it?
It was delicious. They were like really, probably like, would you say they were like 5 centimeters, 10 centimeters
really
tall?
thick pancakes.
And real like eggy, like souffle pancakes.
Really jiggly pancakes. Yeah, really.
They were really good.
Wobbly, jiggly, eggy pancakes. What flavor did you? I can't even remember what I got.
I think I got like a caramel banana or something. And I think, did you get blueberry or something?
Yes, I'm looking at it now. Blueberry cream pancakes with ice cream. It was the best. It was so worth
and we got
lining
the
up.
waffle. They
The
had
chocolate
like
waffle.
croissant waffles.
Yeah. They
So it
weren't
was
as good as the pancakes though.
They were pretty good though. It was like that
it was all good.
flaky, layery kind of croissant pastry, but in waffle shape. I liked that.
Highly recommend lining up for that.
Yeah.
It was really, really good. And then we made our way to the bamboo
No,
forest.
we went to the Nishiki market
Oh, yeah.
and we spent probably way longer there than we had intended to.
Yes. But the Nishiki market was very cool.
It was really awesome.
It's just like I had some shrimp.
You did,
The shrimp on the stick barbecued in front of you or seared in front of you, and they have like the little flame torches that they sear them with. That was so yum. And it was only like, maybe it was 1,000 yen, but still it was amazing. We picked up like some of that spice mix, remember?
Yeah.
And
Which is really yummy.
but the markets were so busy there.
Yeah.
But it was good.
It was really good. I would love to go back, not after we'd just eaten a meal.
Yes, because we would have eaten way
Yeah.
more. And the food looked so
It
good.
looked really good.
Lots of seafood though, which you're not massive on.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of like beef and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, fruit and veggies and desserts and stuff.
Yeah. And then we went to the bamboo forest,
Yes.
which was all right.
Yeah.
It is what it
was
says
really
on the
busy.
tin.
And so in that area, I can't even remember the name of that area where the bamboo forest was. It maybe took us
It's like northwest of Kyoto, maybe an hour.
half an hour?
Yeah, on the
can't
bus, I
remember.
think.
Yeah.
Or the train.
So it took us a while to get out there, but there was a couple of things we wanted to like go to.
Yeah.
One of them was the bamboo forest. The second one was like the snow monkey. They're called
monkey-
snow monkeys.
Yeah, the monkey park.
The forest thing there.
You could see monkeys.
and they're like in their natural habitat or whatever. I don't know. Sounded cool. And then another, what was that other little temple place called that is much less touristy?
Yeah, I don't know what it's called, but
one of my friends had just been a couple of weeks before us, and she said it's like a shrine or a temple or something that has all the rocks are like made into faces.
Yeah.
And she said it was just really serene, like not many people around, and it was just awesome. So I really wanted to go there. What we didn't think of was that these places have closing times. And so after going to the bamboo forest, we're like, all right, we'll go to the monkey place. And then when we got there, it was about to close.
Yeah.
It was like 10 minutes till closing time.
Yeah.
And then we're like, okay, well, let's just go to that other place. And that place also closed.
It was closed, yeah. So then we just took the bus back.
So that was a bit disappointing, but I think we just spent too long in the morning kind of getting pancakes and going to the market and stuff.
That's all right, though. We still had a really good time.
Yeah, but
and then
would have loved an extra day.
Yes, but then that night, because I really wanted to do sushi train, but you're not massive on sushi, on like nigiri and raw fish.
Yep.
So we did our own dinners. I think you just went to 7-Eleven to be fair.
I'm pretty sure I got an egg sandwich again.
I went to a sushi train at Kyoto Station, which was so good. And but they also had raw horse meat on the train. Did I tell you that?
Yeah.
That was weird. I didn't eat it, obviously. But the fish was so yum. Like if you like raw fish and like it was just amazing. Got really filled up. Then we got, there was the parfait from Lawson or Family Mart that I got, which was really good. And then that was our Kyoto journey, I think. One thing we haven't talked about, which maybe we talk about in the Osaka edition of this, which is the next one, Don Quixote.
Oh, I love Donkey.
Yeah.
My new favourite shop.
Don Quixote is amazing. We will explain more about it on the next episode. But why don't you give your overall thoughts and impressions of Kyoto and what you thought? I mean, obviously you said you wanted to spend more time there.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think it's not quite as like chaotic as Tokyo and Osaka. Like it just felt a little bit more chill, but there was still lots to do. Like I would have loved to spend, at least another day or two kind of exploring because I just thought it was beautiful and just I felt just a little bit calmer maybe.
The other thing, one thing about Kyoto, like historically, is it was like one of the only cities that wasn't affected by the war as much. So a lot of the buildings in Kyoto are much older, whereas like you go to Tokyo, it's all skyscrapers and stuff. It's all new there. Kyoto's a bit older. Like even that Gion section, was like the buildings were very old. You could tell that they were very like traditional older style buildings in that area. But yeah, it was beautiful. I wish we spent more time there too. It took a lot more buses in Kyoto as well, remember?
We did actually.
Yeah.
A lot of buses. Which, I don't know, do you remember like on the buses, instead of like on a train, how you pay like depending on how many stops you take, on a bus, you take one stop. It costs you $2 or whatever. You stay on it for like an hour and it costs you $2.
Yeah,
like it's
a
the
flat
same.
fare. It's interesting actually because
weird.
There's more incentive for you to go further.
Yeah.
Like to just jump on and go one stop is like there's way less value.
Yeah. I just thought that was so interesting.
Yeah.
It's such a strange approach.
Oh man, I really miss Japan. It was so good.
Me too.
But we get to relive it and talk about it. Next step, we make our way over to Osaka where we do a few day trips from there as well, which was really fun.
Yes.
And I loved being there with you. And I can't wait to talk about it with you in another version of this. All right. Love you so much. And enjoy your trip. Is that how we wrap it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, enjoy your trip.
Enjoy your trip.
All right. Bye, everyone. Say bye.
Bye.
Bye.